Hello, my name is Mandy and today I'm here to talk to you about my magical readathon N.E.W.T TBR. I don't know if I said that right. Right on the tail of my first readathon, I've decided to participate in another one. Rather than one that takes place just during 1 week, this one takes place all throughout the month of August, so this is also my August TBR. The Magical Readathon was created by Book Roast. I'll link her channel below as well as an explanation of this readathon. Her Magical Readathon has 2 parts every year. 1 month in April, I believe it's April, you do the OWLs, the owls. And then in August, you do the N.E.W.Ts. I wasn't on BookTube in April, but she did say that if you didn't have a chance to do the one in April, you could make it up in July. So I've been able to apply books that I read in July to the prompts for my OWLs. Basically, you can earn owls and N.E.W.Ts based on the reading prompts that you fulfill. And all of these go together to make your career. If you get your OWLs and your N.E.W.Ts in certain categories, you can earn the right to have a particular wizard career. This is all based on Harry Potter, by the way, if you did not know. I love Harry Potter. I wanted to make sure that I had Harry Potter in the background for this video. Now with the owls, you basically just had one prompt for each subject, and if you filled that, you received your owl. But for N.E.W.Ts, you have the different levels. You can get an acceptable N.E.W.T, or an exceeds expectation N.E.W.T, or an outstanding N.E.W.T. But you cannot receive the exceeds expectation without reading the acceptable one, and you cannot receive the outstanding without reading the other 2, if that makes sense. Hopefully I haven't confused everyone up the wazoo right now. If anything, you can go and check out her channel with that description. She can give a much better explanation of the challenge, or of the readathon. Now that I have talked your ear off, I'm excited to talk to you about my books. First, I'll go over really quick the owls that I was able to earn this month in July. For Ancient Runes, you had to read a retelling, and I read Cinder. I won't give any explanations about these books. You can hear my thoughts about them in my Reading Rush wrap-up and also my July wrap-up, which should be coming up pretty soon. I'll link those both down below. For the Arithmancy Owl, you had to read a book written by 2 or more authors, and I read Aurora Rising by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. For Defense Against the Dark Arts, read a book that starts with R. I reread Renegades. Yay! For History of Magic, read a book published 10 or more years ago. I read Princess in Waiting by Meg Cabot. This was published in 2003. For Transfiguration, a book with a red cover, and I read Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. That's all for my owls. Now I'm going to be reading through my N.E.W.T TBR. Oh, I don't think I said my chosen profession. I have chosen this year to fulfill the requirements to become a librarian. I know, it seems really basic compared to all of the other careers out there, but it's the one that sounded the most fun to me. She hosts the readathon every year, and you can choose a different career every year. So I figured that for my first year, librarian sounds great. Maybe next year I will do something fun, like a ministry worker or an alchemist. But for now, I feel very secure with my choice to be a librarian. To become a librarian, I need an O in Ancient Runes, which means I need to fulfill 3 prompts. The first prompt for Ancient Runes is read a book recommended to you by a friend. Since we're all friends here on BookTube, I decided to read a book recommended by Meg over at Pride and Fiction. I'll link her below. I didn't even realize this book existed, and she gushed about it on her channel, and I decided I had to try it, and that is The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet by Bernice Sue and Kate Rorick. This book is based off of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which was a YouTube show a couple years ago. I love the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and I'm excited to get this extra insight into the whole story and everything that goes along with that. To receive Exceeds Expectations in Ancient Runes, you need to write a book written in the past tense. For that, I have chosen to read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This one is about World War II and two sisters and hardships. That's really all I know about it. I know that a lot of people have loved this, which is why I want to give it a try. I'll probably be reading this one pretty early on in the month because I got the audiobook in from Libby, and I only have 2 more weeks left, and there was a long wait for it. To receive an outstanding in Ancient Runes, you have to read a book that's been on your TBR for ages. For this, I have chosen The Arabian Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I haven't read this one. I know so many people love this series. I've been a little hesitant to read it. It is on my Most Intimidating Books video. I'll link that one below. But I am ready to get over intimidation. I've already checked off 1 book from my intimidating books list, so I'm ready to check off another one. To become a librarian, you have to get an E in Defense Against the Dark Arts. An E is for Exceeds Expectations, which means I have 2 prompts to fulfill. The first one, for an acceptable owl, or for an acceptable newt, is to read a book that is black under the dust jacket. For this one, I have chosen to read Cress by Marissa Meyer. I read the first 2 Lunar Chronicles books last month, and I am very excited to read the next one. This book literally came in the mail today, so I was very excited to find it. The next level of the Defense Against the Dark Arts Newt was to read the first book from your TBR that came to mind. The first book that came to mind for me was The Distance Between Us by Casey West. This one is kind of a Lady and the Tramp story from what I can tell from the back of the book. It is really one of the only Casey West books that I haven't read yet, and I am definitely ready to check this one off my TBR. Excited to read another one of her books. And finally, I need an E in History of Magic, so that's another 2-level one. First up, I have to read a fantasy. The fantasy that I have chosen to read is Furthermore by Tahera Mafi. I haven't read any books by Tahera Mafi yet. I know she's so popular, but this is the one that sounded most interesting to me. I got a copy last month, and I am excited to check this out. I think one of the things that I was most excited about with it is the fact that it is a standalone. I know there is a spin-off, but from what I understand, it doesn't deal with the same characters. And since I'm right in the middle of a couple of series right now, I just wasn't in the mood to start a new series with a fantasy, so this was a great option for me. My final prompt is to read a book with a map included. Like I said, I really was not in the mood to start a new fantasy. I just couldn't bring myself to start a new series, and most books with maps in them are a whole series. So I chose something a little outside the box for a booktube thing, and I have never actually read this book, and it is Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. I'm actually really excited to check this out. Like I said, I've never read the original Winnie the Pooh. I know it'll be a fast read, but it'll also be a really good one. And who knows, maybe this will inspire me to get a copy of it so that I can get one to read to Evie eventually. That was my TBR for Owl's Magical Readathon. I'm really excited about this one. When I found out about it, there was no question in my mind. I was doing the Harry Potter Readathon. I probably won't vlog it. I wasn't very impressed with how my Reading Rush vlog turned out, so maybe I'll give like a quick update or something. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but I don't anticipate taking the entire month to fulfill this readathon, so maybe I'll do a mid-month wrap-up. I'm not entirely sure how it's all going to work out. Let me know if you're planning on doing the readathon as well. Am I the only Harry Potter nerd here? I'm sure I'm not, because there is an entire readathon based on this. Also, let me know if you've read any of the books on my list. Let me know what I can expect from them. I'm excited. There's a lot of books that I've been waiting to read on this list. I hope you liked what you saw today. If you did, feel free to click subscribe. You can also follow me on my social media, which I will link below, along with all of the other links I told you I was going to put there. I apologize if I forget a link or two, because I'm going to try my best. But I did say I was going to link a lot down below. I hope you're having a great bookish day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!